This is pretty funny. You know, the Republican convention is going to be held in Milwaukee. Wisconsin Representative Brian Steele had tweeted this out after a closed-door meeting that Trump had with Republicans. Jake Sherman reported Trump to House Republicans, Milwaukee, where we are having our convention, is a horrible city. And Brian Steele, now incidentally, this is a closed-door Republican meeting. So somebody came out and complained about it. And Brian Steele writes, I was in the room. President Trump did not say this. There is no better place than Wisconsin in July.
He's from Wisconsin.
But what does he say down below? What is this guy? What is that?
I think it's just
oh, and so the Republicans go into major damage control. And who's in charge of that? Well, sometimes Fox News host, sometimes Donald Trump aide Sean Hannity, and he has Mike Johnson on, who, of course, is a professional liar, to clarify whether Trump made disparaging remarks about the city of Milwaukee.
Can we just settle one thing once and for all here? Did President Trump, has been attributed to him that he took a shot at Milwaukee? Did he do that?
No, I didn't hear it, and I was sitting right next to him. I introduced him this morning at breakfast where he started.
Pause it for 1 second. I didn't hear it is not a denial.
Yeah.
I can't remember. I'm very busy. I had my headphones in because I was checking out my Instagram feed, or I was listening to morning prayers, or I was reading the Bible. I have an audio thing, a book of the Bible. My son was calling me because he saw a report that I may have crossed into potential porn on my YouTube feed, whatever it is. But I didn't hear it, so I would say no. Go back.
The Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, is with us. Mr. Speaker, welcome back. Great to have you. Can we just settle one thing once and for all here? Did President Trump, has been attributed to him that he took a shot at Milwaukee? Did he do that?
No, I didn't hear it, and I was sitting right next to him. I introduced him this morning at breakfast where he started the day. He spoke for an hour without notes, Sean. He can stand up there and hold court as long as he wants. As you know, President Trump
Pause
is
it
on
for 1
his
second. Bradley, ask me if I disparaged Milwaukee.
Sam, did you disparage Milwaukee?
I gave a speech without notes. Go ahead.
game. And I'm telling you, in the room this morning, there was energy, enthusiasm, excitement. We had colleagues in there, Sean, who were commenting after his visit with us this morning, the House Republicans, that they haven't been this excited about the future of our country in 40 years. That's what one of my colleagues told me. Look,
wow.
There's a palpable energy. In his words, something he said this morning, he said,
Crazy
something's
energy.
happening in America, and we see it. There's a demographic shift going on in all these different segments of the population. We're headed for a great November. We have to run like we're 10 points behind, but I'm convinced Donald J. Trump is going to get a second term as president. We're going to retake the Republican majority in the Senate, and we're going to grow the House majority in the House, and that's going to be a good day for America.
I don't think so.
All right, well, there it is. Now, look, I don't care if Donald Trump has disparaged Milwaukee. I mean, look at the places that he's disparaged. Of course he did.
Yeah.
In fact, let's just ask the man himself, because we know Donald Trump cannot tell a lie.
Democrats are also hitting you on this comment that you made about Milwaukee, the host city for the RNC, for the convention, and they seem to believe that you said that it was a horrible city. Can you just nip this in the bud and clarify?
Pause it for a second. Like, I mean, the amount of work that the Fox News hosts do to nip this in the bud. Like, I'm just curious, like, oh, I know what it is. They're worried about Wisconsin.
For the RNC, for the convention, and they seem to believe that you said that it was a horrible city. Can you just nip this in the bud and clarify what you meant?
Well, I think it was very clear what I meant. I said we're very concerned with crime. I love Milwaukee. I have great friends in Milwaukee, but it's, as you know, the crime numbers are terrible, and we have to be very careful.
So how?
Oh, well, that doesn't sound. Now they call it a Milwaukee hoax. I mean, he just said in his nipping of the bud.
He said it.
We got to be careful. It's a very dangerous city. There's a lot of crime there.
But there's also a difference between Stiles saying he didn't say that. Like, that almost implies that he didn't bring up the city at all, almost. And Johnson's like, I didn't hear it. And Trump's like, well, I think my remarks speak for themselves. It's a very different shade from all three guys here.
Yeah.
Statewide crime data from 2022 compiled by the FBI shows Wisconsin falls below the national average rates with 297 violent offenses per 100,000 compared to 380.
But, I mean, let's be honest, Matt. We know what's going on in Milwaukee, right? We know it's dangerous.
Black people.
I mean,
What's going on?
I'm just saying Milwaukee has a dark future. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm just all saying. We just got to be careful. When we're there, we got to be careful. We just got to stay with my friends. And everybody's got to drive in armored cars. It's interesting that they're that worried about it. And the reason why they're worried about it is because they know, Wisconsin's one of those states where it's like, 10,000 people. Like,
yeah. And the most populous city there, too. Like, the people who would presumably be voting there, if they're going in droves, are going to be voting for Biden.
Yeah. But, and it's interesting.
How that plays in the suburbs.
I mean, that's the thing, is that Scott Walker, he played this same game. He drove, and Trump is doing this too. Trump is doing this too. That is like, I understand what you people in the suburbs have to deal with in the dirty, crime-ridden city.
Exactly. Look, we can't be honest about it, but we know.
We know what's going on here. And I think, like, on some level, there's a concern with the Wisconsin people, the Republicans. I think the concern is twofold. One is, it's a very different state than it was 10 years ago or 12 years ago when Scott Walker was governor. And he made his bones by being the Milwaukee County supervisor and pitting the suburban against the urban and basically playing on white supremacy, I think, without having to say it. And it's a very different state than it was 12 or 13 years ago in terms of political power. The Democrats have done a lot better in terms of building their power and rebuilding the infrastructure there. And so I think some of the Wisconsin people are a little worried that, like, Trump is using an older playbook and that this gets weaponized not just by the right when Trump says something like this, but also the Democrats can do it. I think that's what's going on here, because otherwise you wouldn't see multiple Fox News programs trying to nip this in the bud.
Right.
They don't want the story when Trump shows up there in Milwaukee, there was some people are like, this is going to be our appeal to black people. And this is the way we're going to appeal to black people. But it's going to be a bit of a problem if it's like, we didn't realize there were black people actually living in Milwaukee.
And they're mad at us.
They're mad at us now. Hey, folks, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and check out our daily show. We do it every day at 12 p.m. Eastern for about 2.5 hours. We even take phone calls. You should check that out.